What's up? This is the View from Legacy U Comic Book Series, and this is Chillin the Green Box. And on today's show, we got Scott from Unearthly Comics talking about his new horror book he has out, and talking about collaborating with other writers and artists to make projects come out true and perfect. So it's good information, good show. Y'all learn something about this, and you know what? Specks, go ahead, turn it up.
Hey, welcome back to the hood. This is Chillin the Green Box with Specks, Thompson interview. And today on the show, I got Scott from Unearthly Comics with me today on the show, talking about a new project he got out on Kickstarter. What's going on, man?
How you doing?
Good. For people who don't know who you are or what you do, give them a little brief introduction.
I am Scott from Unearthly Comics. We do a lot of horror and thriller, revenge comics, and started Unearthly Comics about 10 years ago, and just been doing the independent publishing ever since. So it's been a fun ride.
Okay. So I mean, before the show, you said you watched or at least some of the episodes. So do you know about the Green Box in neighborhoods?
I do actually, because it brought me back. So I was like, when I listened, I was like, Green Box, and like I lived in Florida for a bit, and so that's where ride the bike around, and then that's where I just rest. And just sit on the box and just hang out, catch your breath. And I remember one time I was riding by one of the boxes, and a snake jumped out at me. I was coming around the curve, and it just like pounced, and so that was like a memory there for that. But yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. You helped jog some memories for me.
Okay. So so my show is based off the that same concept, just chilling on that Green Box, because like I said, as you heard, I've been on a lot of podcasts, and people just get on there for 2 hours, and you know nothing about nothing besides that one Kickstarter they got going on. So my show is basically them know more about the creator, so you want to support them past Kickstarter. Just in case they got some books on their website they can go purchase, or they frequently do Kickstarters. You can keep up with them, know how to keep coming onto the same show over and over again, because they develop fans for my show. So that's why I made my show. Yep. So
that's great.
On my first segment, it's called breaking it down. And so I'm gonna break your brain down with some icebreaker questions so people know more about you. So with that being said, Jason or Freddy?
I like Jason. Jason's my guy. I love, I love seeing him just tear people up, and I watched Friday the 13th, the 3D. That's always fun. Catching some of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But the I don't know, the Nightmare on Elm Street 3 is a classic. The Dream Warriors. If that one is a true classic though. But I'd go with Jason for myself. How about you?
Okay, yeah. I guess the concept of Freddy always freaked me out. So I didn't watch Freddy till I got grown. Well, not really grown. I guess high school. Of course, Freddy vs. Jason. That was my first time. Then I don't know, was it the Russell Crowe ones? The ones where they're like the actors playing the characters from Freddy and they end up being like a Freddy movie. I don't know. That was my first one, or the remake.
Okay.
But I definitely remember watching both of those though. But I say Jason my all-time favorite. One of my favorite weapons is machete. He uses machete.
Yeah.
The video game, the favorite, not favorite Jason, the Friday the 13th video game. I played that to death. I was pretty high rank on there. So
I tell you, I would play that game. My kids would play it. I love video games, but I'm not good at them. So whether I was the counselor or I was Jason, I was always losing. But it was always a lot of fun to play the game. I just was not good at it. And then they stopped it, right? They can't.
So you can still play story mode on it, but you can't play online unless you go to a private server. Like if you make a server, then you just gotta make a post on Facebook so everybody go join it. But it's no you can't just find servers to play on no more, and they don't update it. I don't think so. If there's a bug in it, it's a bug in it forever now. My next question is, This is a question I never asked nobody. What type of shoes do you like wearing?
I'm pretty boring. Yeah, I just wear. I got my Nike just tennis shoes for trying to run, but I realize I'm old and running still doesn't work even if I have nice shoes. So, yeah, my feet still hurt. Then I got some just some regular Doc Martens every once in a while, just something to wear. But yeah, pretty boring. I wear some oh, what are the skater shoes? I,
DCs?
I was learning how to skate with my kids there for a while. So learning late in life how to skateboard. So that was quite interesting. But yeah, so wearing the Converse and that type of stuff. So
I bet that was good on your knees too, huh?
man, my knees, my back. I had to make sure I wear a helmet and elbow pads.
What made you want to learn?
It was a really good time. I enjoyed doing that with them. I'm sorry, I missed that question.
What made you want to learn with skateboard with your kids?
Honestly, we had gotten them skateboards for Christmas one year, like probably about 5 years ago now, and they were just tooling around the neighborhood, and I thought it looked a lot of fun. And I remember having like one of those banana boards when I was a little kid, so I was like, yeah, I should try this, and so it just gave me an excuse to hang out with them and just kind of just learn. And we had a skate park, or we still do have one about 10 minutes from the house, so we'd grab some boards and go over there and just skate around. So it's just a good way to bond.
Okay.
Mm.
Well, my kid's not at that age yet, but I got 4 or 5-year-old, and they got me doing a little pre versus of running, full speed. I got to catch up and stuff. And I was like, oh my god, I found out how out of shape I was. Some reason I still do it in my job. I climb up stuff. Anyway, not supposed to. It's not safe, but I had to do it just because. And my kids were doing something outside, and I saw a tree, and I was like, I can climb a tree. I can do it. So I climbed the tree, and my kid's sitting there crying, like, Daddy, no, Daddy, no. I'm like, I'm not going to fall out in the tree. Yeah, I know I'm old, but I'm not going to fall out in the tree.
I don't know. We got that in like our DNA from being kids. You climbing trees and jumping fences and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, same thing for mine. Yeah, it's like, oh, see a tree, let's go climb that tree, or go climb that hill, or there's fences over there. Let's go jump some fences and to see what happens.
Yeah, it was a meme that went around a couple months ago that said, walking by a random fence and making sure and jumping it and make sure you still got it.
It's true. Plus we look cool to our kids when we do it, because like, they don't expect these old people to be doing all that stuff. They're like, we get to show off for our little kids.
Yeah. My last question is what is my last question? I forgot. Well, if you could go back in any decade, what decade would you pick? It'd be the same age you is now in a different decade.
Man, that's a good question. I mean, honestly, I've enjoyed all the decades I've lived in, to some extent. But, yeah, I think honestly, if I was going to use it, I'd use it to go back and buy a bunch of comics that I knew would be worth something today. That way I could retire now. So maybe the the 80s and 70s, 80s, movies, in the 70s were really good. You got the slashers in the 80s, so that was fun. So somewhere in there. I mean, I enjoyed my time in the 80s as a kid, so doing it as an adult might be interesting.
Yeah. Got a lot more leeway, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Get into more trouble.
Yeah. I speak talking about having a comic that worth money. I speak about having a toy growing up. Got for Christmas, I believe. It was a Spider-Man toy. It came with Ultimate Spider-Man #1.
Oh, okay. Was that the Toy Biz?
I don't know what. I don't know. It was
okay.
Almost 20 years ago.
Yeah.
um, but the fact was that it came with the book, and knowing who Spider-Man was, Peter Parker was, read that book and like, what is this? Where's his web shooters at? What? Why is he like that? And not caring for the story because it's not around that time. I think I had Ben Riley as my Peter Parker. Then on top of that, that's not the Peter Parker I knew. My Peter had glasses and it was nerdy.
Yeah.
And not caring for the comic at all. So I think it was like I had two of them. And I rolled it up and never cared much about it. Now that comic worth so much money.
Yeah. I think we all do that with some books, or toys. I remember all my, He-Man figures from back in the day, and having all those and selling them on a box on the front yard for a garage sale, for, probably pennies on the dollar now, so that's the way it goes sometimes. As long as you got to enjoy it when you had it,
Yeah, I had it in 64. I guess we all did. And I had so many games. I probably had, I guess, like 100 games for it or whatever. So, transition, you get the PS2, PS3, I don't know what I had. I still had it. So, Nintendo 64 getting old. We want to trade the GameStop. GameStop was giving me like 50 cents to $1 for each cartridge.
Yeah, they'll take your money.
Yeah, now, shoot, them games worth more 40 years old than they were next day old now. So I'm like, man, I just look at some of the games I had and I see the market price now. I was like, man, I can have me a Ferrari right now.
I know. It's crazy how that stuff works, especially the collectibles. And I never had the N64. I was like Genesis. Genesis was what I had, and then for whatever reason I had the Nintendo when it first came out. I remember getting at it. At the BX when I was a little kid, we got that, and that came with Super Mario and Duck Hunt, and we got the gun and all that kind of stuff. So, I remember all those. Those were fun to get.
As a kid, did you know that you could play second player and play with a duck? Did you know that?
No, see, I didn't know that at all. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah. I mean, my sister had that game, and we just had to take turns passing the gun around. You can control the duck.
Yeah, I had no idea you can control the duck. I know my game was Contra. I always played Contra, so that was the first time I ever learned about the Konami code. For getting the extra life. That was my introduction to that. But that was my big game I liked playing.
All right. Well, that's it for that segment. Now I think my next segment is called the back issues. Being inside comics, you should know all about the back issues. But people who don't, you want to know about a character origin story. Like I brought up Ben Riley, you read his back issues, find out more about his origin story. So in this segment, we're going to go into your back issues to find out more about your origin story. So, with that being said, where are you from? What do you call your hood?
I was a military brat, so I've been a little bit everywhere. But I'm most recently living in Texas. I've lived here for like 20 years now. But for most of my childhood and teen years, it was just traveling around. So Texas now, more Fort Worth area.
Okay. Are you? So you say you're military brat. So were you military yourself?
I was military also. My parents were both military, and then I joined for just a 4-year stint, and then got out and just doing the civilian life.
Okay. So in the military, I guess a long time. So did you have you listen to a lot of music? I assume. So what artist or genre got you liking certain type of music?
When I was like I guess if we want to go really far back, back before Will Smith was Will Smith, I was used to DJ Jeff and the Fresh Prince. So that was like some of my first stuff, and he did that Nightmare on My Street song that he did.
Oh,
So like that's the kind of stuff that when I was a real little kid, it was that, and then it was the Beastie Boys. I remember my friend had that album with the airplane on it, crashing into the wall, and then my teen years, that was kind of when grunge hit. So that was, you had Pearl Jam and Nirvana, and then as I got further in, then you had I guess Far Side was a something I enjoyed. Passing Me By, that was like the anthem during that time. So yeah, just a good variety of different types of music. I like enjoying everything I can get my hands on.
Okay. What about comics? What comic book or comic related TV show got you into comics?
I think from whenever I was a little kid, I was always into comics. So probably I like the Hulk TV show because the Hulk is my the comic I collect the most of. That's the one I seek out the most. So the TV show was always fun for that. Yeah, and we were kind of starved back in the day for good comic content. Now it's we take it for granted just how much is out there. But yeah, that's probably what kind of got me in and kept me in.
Okay. Do you still read comics now?
I read some. I honestly just don't get to the comic stores that often to pick stuff up. So I try to read when I can. When I go to the conventions, I try to pick up some stuff. Or Nick, my partner, he's really good about he's on it for any new stuff. So he's all about X-Men and stuff like that. So he'll give me the updates on everything that's going on in comics and the lore and everything, and then he'll introduce me to different books that he knows that I'd probably get a kick out of.
Did he tell you about the Savage Hulk books?
Is that the new one where it's more like H.P. Lovecraft type, where he's fighting those type of monsters? Is that Savage Hulk, or is there a different?
Probably came out 2016, 2017, maybe. No, not too far back. To 2018, 2019, maybe. Yeah.
Man, I'll have to look back. They relaunched everything so often; it's hard for me to keep track of.
Yeah. So I forgot what that one. Lore wise, Civil War II.
Okay.
And Marvel, they killed Hulk because with the storyline, he might go rampant again. So they thought, okay, what we need to do is go ahead and put him down. Yeah. So wherever X many years that was when, I don't know, they brought Hulk back, but now he's like he's zombie Hulk. Then he's like overpowered now because he's undead.
Okay. Did that take place? Is that right around the Immortal Hulk time frame? Is that or
yeah around the same?
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to look that up. Savage Hulk. They had a little series there. I'll check that out.
Yes. So like he became the they got the one above all, and he fought the one above below all. So they scaled him up.
Yeah, I did pick up some of those Immortal Hulk books, and I thought those were really cool looking. I loved all the body horror stuff with when he would transform, it looked like it hurt, and then it was just I really dug that look.
And what about Something's Killing Children?
Yeah, I did read the first trade of, and that was really good too. I got my kids on that one. I was like, dude, you got to check this out, so. Showed them Something's Killing the Children. That's really good. I haven't kept up now. Is it still ongoing?
So I believe so, but then I get them confused with like the Nice House on the Lake and not the Nice House on the Lake and House of Slaughter. I get that whole mixture mixed up. Like what's what? Yeah.
The Nice House on the Lake. I did read that. That was really good. I liked that a lot.
I was growing up, I never thought like horror comics was a thing. You just know all about superhero comic books.
Yeah.
And I guess comics. So I never knew horror. I think the closest I got to horror was probably either like Spawn or Darkness or something.
Sure. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, all we had was Marvel and DC for the most part. As far as knowing comics, and yeah, I didn't know about underground comics or really any of that until I got older to know that there was other things out there. So, yeah, it's kind of it's neat to know how much content is out there for everybody.
Yeah. So being military bred, I know you jump around a lot. So being so different from everybody you encounter, did you ever find out you're a nerd from them?
Uh, yeah, I think I always kind of knew because a lot of the friends I had, we'd draw comic books, at school. Like we'd fold the 8.5x11s and staple them and make our own comics, and yeah, we'd get the cool kids would want us to draw comics for them of whatever movie they wanted, like a comic adaptation of a movie or something. So then it'd be like, all right, well, I've never seen this movie. What do I do? And so yeah, drawing a lot. I think you always kind of know that you're a nerd when you're drawing and talking comics and stuff.
Yeah. See, I wish I had your school because in middle school, kids paid me to draw,
Yeah.
and they had me draw like at the time. Dragon Ball Z was popular, and Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon that was popular. Naruto had just came about, so they had me drawing that stuff. But man, if somebody had me drawing like movie scenes, I could have capitalized because I'll just go to the Google Images and print that out and just trace over it. I don't even make a bank.
Well, this was back. Man, this was like early '90s, so I didn't have anything to go on. They were like telling me about the movie, so it was like
they wouldn't have stopped me. I would have went to Blockbuster, movie gallery. Pause the video, pause the thing, and go on the screen.
Yeah, that is very true. I should have done that. I probably would have been a lot better.
Yeah, see, then like depending on what time in the '90s that was happening for you, you could do a picture in picture, so it'd be like real small.
Yeah.
So you could use the panels.
Yeah. Where were you when I needed you back then? You could have helped me.
I know, man. I can use that time machine and go back to the '90s and help you out.
There you go. See, I think we figured it out. We're going back to the '90s.
Yeah. Where's the DeLorean at?
Yeah. That was a good movie too.
I'm surprised they haven't remade it yet. They remake everything else.
That is very true. I'm sure they're thinking about it. They'll do it at some point, I'm sure.
We were talking about memes earlier. Another meme. Was it that movie? I assume they said that movie. So going back to the last one that came out, it's a farther time jump than any of the time jumps they did in that movie from this point in time.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what happens with time, I guess. Especially as we get older, we don't realize just how much time has passed. Man, I think of the '90s as not that long ago. That was my teen years. I was like, it can't be that far back. And then I think we all do that with time and things. That's funny that's how it is for that Back to the Future movie.
Yeah, like I work with some. There are teenagers, but they're like 19, 20, 21, whatever.
Yeah.
And I speak about things, and I'm like, yeah, that was I'm talking about video game. And I was like, yeah, I'm about to have my 15-year anniversary for my high school. So that game had to come out like 18 years ago. And he was like, yeah, I probably was like 3 years old when that game came out. I was like,
yeah. I have me and my kids have been replaying the Resident Evil games, with the remastering. But it's the same thing with that. Like I was looking at Resident Evil 2. Man, I played that way before my kids were around, and it's like, holy cow! We're playing remasters. I was telling them about the tank controls, for the old, playing in the old systems. It is kind of funny to
yeah,
does that.
I don't see my kids not that old, not that. Oh well, I kind of wing them away from that stuff, but like if they would play something we have, their mom has a Nintendo Switch, and she plays like the old NES games on them and stuff. So like they'll probably play that, on there, and it probably it was a shot to them because it's a what it 18-bit, 32-bit game.
Yeah.
Then they see me on the PlayStation playing, this 3D games, so I bet that's
Yeah.
throw them all the way off.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. My next segment is called the hotkeys.
Mhm.
It's the meat of the show when we get to know what you do and what you're about. And made it hotkeys because of comics. It's when a new writer, new artist get on board, a new character get introduced, or nowadays a new storyline or an old storyline get picked up for a new show or movie.
Yeah.
So we finna pick some points that so people can touch on and know more what you do. So with that being said, you said you've been in the comics for 10 years now, right?
Yeah. It started Unearthly about 10 years ago.
What got you into comics? Like making comics? I guess you was making comics in high school, but professionally, taking it serious.
Yeah, taking it seriously. I think it was. I think I decided that I was either going to do it or just stop, and so it was kind of like just putting the gauntlet down, for myself to say, hey, just stop talking about it, and actually put something together, and then see what happens. And so it was just starting. I think was the toughest part, and then building off of that. But yeah, once I got the ball rolling and like knew that I just did 8 pages, and now I just did 24 pages, and then I was like, okay, I think I can do something with this, and then just slowly try to keep improving and just build on my previous work to try to get better.
Okay. So with that being said, are you a writer or an artist?
I'm a better artist than I'm a writer. So I did some writing in the beginning just because I didn't have anybody to partner with for writing, and then I was fortunate enough to meet Nick, and Nick is fantastic. He writes every day, all day. He does that stuff just in his sleep. So having someone else to bounce ideas off of, and then have him kind of put dialogue to the ideas and stuff. It's definitely, I think, taking it to another level for both of us to improve.
Okay. And you essentially make horror comics, correct?
Correct.
So how do you get your inspiration or your images of the I guess like the horror aspect of the comic? Like, what do you draw from?
A lot of it is just imagination of what I think is scary or makes me cringe on the inside if I saw it. I don't. It's weird because I don't like real violence. So trying to find reference for some of the stuff I draw, it's like I don't want to look up real stuff. That's enough of there's enough of that in real life. I want to just
you might get FBI to your door if you do it.
That's probably true too. Yeah, I gotta search on somebody else's computer. But
well, you're old enough.
Yeah.
Do you remember the website people used to go to back in the day to see like murder scenes or like horror scenes?
Yeah, it was like they put them all on VHS back then. It was like Death something or there was a whole VHS series of those that they would collect them up and you could go rent them at the I don't know, Faces of Death. That's what it was.
Yeah, I don't know what we was on back then. Like why we consume that stuff.
Yeah, I don't know that stuff. It never works for me. Like the real life stuff doesn't work for me. But man, you let me draw some person's head getting caught in a bear trap. I'm all about it. But yeah, I don't want to see it in real life.
Mm-hmm. I want to say you're the first guest that had horror comics. If somebody did have horror comics, they talked about something else besides horror comics. But so I'm watching the horror movie, and I got jump scares and grotesque stuff, and some of them boobs,
Sure.
depending on what I'm watching. So in a comic, what do I expect in a comic? Like, what makes it horror? Like, because I don't know. Maybe I turn this page and jump. I don't know, but like, what makes it, I guess, excited to read or a thing to read, like a movie?
Yeah. Well, that's a good point because it is more of a challenge, I think, to have that scary moment or you know drop that surprise because you can see it already on the page. So then it's well, where do I put that crazy image? Do I put it on the page where someone's got to flip the page, turn it to then catch that image, and a lot of times it's for like the Gatorman one, we did that one before Stilettos. We did that through Kickstarter successfully, but that one is just straight up slasher horror, and that one it's just being gnarly and just drawing crazy stuff for some of the kills, more of a homage to the old 70s and 80s like slasher movies. It was those inspirations, but yeah, it's for comics. It definitely is more of a challenge to have that suspense or horror and get that across. And we had I guess one of the best compliments I thought that we got from someone that had checked it out was that, or for the Gatorman one, was that they felt dirty reading it because the pages looked grimy and like the art looked like dirt, like you were there. So I thought that was a really cool compliment to get, that they felt the dirt, reading it.
I've probably successfully read one horror series, and I can't think of the name of it. But it was about some town. It's in some town somewhere, and it's snowing, and they got some killer in there. They came back, and I guess the first time it came, the sheriff was involved. So it's back again, and people trying to draw ties back to the sheriff of the killer. And it wasn't like the murder scenes wasn't that bad. It was just like I looked at someone, I was like, oh my god, it just like you wouldn't expect it because it was so like long and drawn out porn book. All of a sudden you flip a page and somebody got slaughtered, or it was like that. Currently, in Marvel Comics, Wolverine. I don't know how they marketed it, but I think it was Wolverine versus Ghost Rider. I think that's how they marketed it.
Yeah.
And the character in that book, when he kills, he takes the people's bodies and make artwork with the bodies. And just that, grotesque. Yeah, I've seen that before. It's not special. But they did like a flashback when he was a kid. He did it, and he did it to a whole bunch of kids at the orphanage. I was like, oh my god, they put that in the book.
Yeah.
And that was got me. I was like, they just put killing kids in the book. Like, you can't do that.
Yeah, that's definitely a step right there. Yeah, I haven't drawn any of that yet. But yeah. Well, Nick was telling me about the Wolverine and Sabretooth wars, and Sabretooth like chopping up with Dakin and all that, and spelling "Happy Birthday" in the snow.
Yeah.
But,
I haven't been like keeping up with X-Men comic book. Like John the Hitman got me back reading X-Men consistently. So I think he came out 2020 with that. So it's 4 years. So if the writer was being smart, they catch it. But essentially every year Sabretooth does that. Sabretooth's Wolverine's birthday, he tried to mix it hell. So like I think like 2 of the yeah, like 2 of the years he did like some grotesque to Wolverine to make his birthday suck. And I think this year that's what he did. He chopped the sun up and spelled happy birthday and just blew the sun.
That's all. Yeah, when he told me that, I was like, seriously? Like, I had to look at the. He showed me the page. I was like, yeah, that's pretty funny that they did that.
Yeah, I gotta read. I haven't got that far yet, but I gotta read it because, like, comic wise, like I said, it came out in 2020, and the first couple issues, Sabretooth did something. They put Sabretooth basically like in the pit, or like I guess essentially hell.
Yeah.
So he just been there for 4 years. So he just recently got out this year. So like,
he got all that time to think of all these crazy ideas. He's got the next 20 years of Wolverine's birthday planned out already.
Yeah. So yeah, that is pretty funny. Yeah.
Did you read the Blood Hunt within the Red Band books?
No, I haven't read it yet.
Okay.
I've been behind on comics, so I'm trying to
Yeah.
catch up on the Cocoa stuff. So I'm almost. Well, I need to be there. Start like reading comics on current, but I say like that storyline is gonna be my jump point to read comics every week again because life is pushing back. And
Oh,
I
yeah.
didn't know I was like almost a year behind on comics. I'm like, man, like. So I've
Yeah.
been watching it. I've been watching it on YouTube, and ironically, comic historian he died 2 weeks ago, and I was like, man,
Oh, okay. That's too bad.
you know who he is, right?
I apologize. I'm not familiar with them. Yeah.
Comics historian is one of the I assume he's the biggest YouTuber that does YouTube videos about comics. So he's will take a comic like Blood Hunt. Depending on how the book is formatted, he either do every issue and read it a certain way to people so that you can understand it,
Okay.
or if the book is formatted a different way, he do it for that story arc and he read it. So like most people, that's how they consume comics now. It's through him and a couple other YouTubers. And
Okay. That's too bad that he passed then. I'm sure
so
he'll be missed then for what he provided to the community.
yeah, and they said they're gonna keep doing it, after his death, but like it's just his voice, and
Sure.
he got other people that work under him that will aware who they are, and they sometimes they make their videos themselves, but they're not him, so it won't have the same feeling. So
Yeah, never the same.
Yeah, I just wonder how I know that was his major source of income, so I wonder like what his family gonna do now. Like they gotta get a real 9 to 5 now. Like, how does that work?
Yeah, I can't imagine. Yeah, going from YouTube and trying to generating and creating an audience there, and then trying to keep it then after something like this. Yeah, that's got to be a challenge.
Yeah. So how many books have y'all had within these 10 years?
With Nick, we did Gatorman Kills. So that was our like a 3-issue complete story that we did, and then Stilettos, and then we've done like some small like little like mini stories for like some websites, and just like anthology stuff. Before I was working with Nick, I did like a 3-issue crime story set in Dallas, some sci-fi books that were more anthology based. So I've done a decent amount, and then I did one art. I did the art on one short story in a Antarctic Press like anthology book many years ago. Yeah, so just a lot of different genres, but a decent amount of, I guess, overall pages.
Okay. So yeah, the Stiletto Kickstarter going on now. What is that about, and what is it?
Well, so that's like a Showgirls meets the most dangerous game. So a group of dancers get hired to go to a remote cabin for a bachelor party, and it turns into a tale of survival and revenge as they slaughter these guys. So
Okay.
Yeah, and that'll be we like to do 3-issue kind of miniseries and collect them up into trades, so that way we can tell a complete story that of different interests that we have, and then we'll just move on to another story, and so it's been working good for us. We like working together, so I don't see it stopping anytime soon.
Is this issue 1 of that series?
We have 2/3 of it done, so the Kickstarter is going to be for the entire trade, the entire collected.
Okay.
So it'll basically be probably just over 90 pages when it's all said and done. But yeah, so I'm finishing up the pencils and inks for the last third of it now. So that way we'll have it ready to ship out here in a few months.
And what made y'all pick 3 issues at the sweet spot?
I think a lot of times, from my view, for independent comics, as you and I know from not being able to get to comic stores very often or fall behind, independent comics, you have no idea if they're going to be there next month or next week or what the release schedule is. So we figure it's easier for us to probably sell the idea of picking up the first issue, checking it out, and then collecting it into a trade. So that way you have the complete story all in one place. You're not having to, search down, a multi-issue series, from an independent publisher that, it just isn't carried through Diamond or, any of the other, places that would, stock comic book stores. So I try to make it more accessible, I think was one of the goals. Plus, it's only the two of us, so it gives us more opportunity to work on a lot of different stories if we keep them shorter, so, just we can try more variety.
Okay. Just looking at time frame, we like halfway through the year now. So
Mhm.
is that like 3 books a year or one trade a year for y'all?
That's the idea. I think my every time we do a story or I do work, I try to make a goal for the next one, and so I think the next one we're actually doing Gatorman Returns, so a sequel. But that one, my goal is to have that one further along to where I can hopefully have it done this year also. So maybe get to the end of the cycle where we can do two trades a year would be the goal.
Okay. For your concepts or your books, I guess you started at then Nick came along. But how do you the storylines? Like, how do you get your storylines for these books? Like, where did it come from?
Uh, for the Gatorman one, I I had read some story somewhere about a plane crashing in a swamp and everybody getting killed, and they assume it was alligators and stuff like that. I have no idea if I made that up in a dream or something. 'Cause I've never been able to find the exact reference that I keep. I've tried to Google and everything, but I had the general idea of what I wanted to do and the story beats and everything, and then Nick coming in and kind of really solidifying some of that. I think it's a lot of brainstorming between us. We'll just sit down and he had, for his idea for stilettos, he was at a bachelor party and just was thinking of ideas
He
and
made it.
yeah, and so,
I thought you were gonna say he made it out loud. I was like, oh my god.
that's the twist right there. It's a true story. No,
Yeah.
it was just he came to me with the idea, and so I mean, we're sitting at comic conventions just shooting things back and forth and ideas and what about this, and then we just kind of solidify on something like, all right, well, let's do that. And so we did Gatorman first, now we're doing stilettos, and then we'll just kind of bounce back and forth with different ideas.
How long does it take you to do a page? I guess you don't color, do you?
No, coloring would take even longer, and I'm just not that good at that either. So I tend to focus on just the pencils and inks and that type of stuff. So it depends on the page on how much detail's going in, but I can usually pencil a couple pages a day, but I pencil really loose, and then all the real work for me is done in inking because that's when I really add all those details. So that it could take me a couple days for a page, and then I have a full time job, so it takes multiple hours over multiple days sometimes to knock stuff out. So it just depends.
Okay, my next question was, are you a full-time artist? I'll answer that. But yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna try tiptoe in the horror genre. I got a couple stories. I actually brought one up on my last interview, but I want to take an old children's story and put like a demonic twist on it. Just instead of being like farm animals, I have it be like demons instead, and see how that goes.
You do your own books, right? Is that what I heard on one of the podcasts?
Yeah, I'm a writer. Yeah, I'm right. Yeah. I got my own comic book series. Yeah.
The View, Legacy of the View. Okay.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Okay, very cool. Yeah, I was looking at some of trying to find your stuff, and I was trying to get a sense of on Instagram, I think is where I saw some of that. Then, so yeah, that's really cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the kicker. So I got some crucial kill scenes. In my book.
Very nice. Yeah, so you got some then.
Yeah, so I I get a pass with these stuff. I don't have my second issue on hand, but I get a pass because he's killed. Well, I haven't clarified what I know what they are, but I
Sure.
haven't clarified what the villains are. So I classify them as like imp type creatures.
Yeah.
So when they get killed, they don't have blood. They have green shadow substance. So I can make them as grotesque as I want to, and nobody cares. But I read somewhere like, as soon as I make it blood, that's when everything like goes out the window.
Yeah. Well, you're going the Nintendo Mortal Kombat route.
The white, they still do that. You know that, right?
What's that?
So they changed the color to, well, back then they had no blood, but now it comes out like milk.
Okay. I'm not sure that would be better, but all right.
Yeah, so like the new Mortal Kombat game that came out.
Yeah.
When you punch somebody or whatever, or kill somebody, it's milk. It is white liquids coming out of it.
Is that for the Switch that they do that or something? Or?
Well, they do it for all of them because when they when streamers go Twitch or whatever, they can't put it on. They can't stream that because kids watch it. So it's a setting so you can be able to do that.
Oh, I didn't know there was a setting. I just remember like back in the day, there was a whole thing with Mortal Kombat couldn't be on. I don't know what system it was. That it was one of the Nintendo.
It was
NES,
Super Nintendo. Yeah,
okay.
Because kids played it. It was, we had a freaking Mortal Kombat cartoon on TV for us.
Yeah. Oh, I know we had that when I was a kid. We had Rambo, or not? Yeah, we had Rambo. We also had RoboCop cartoons, Toxic the Avenger cartoons. Yeah, we had all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yeah. Somebody shared a clip. Something that happened in the 90s. Spawn going to my kids' learning programming. and he was like, who invited this Spawn to be on this kid learning program by numbers and colors and stuff?
they just see a comic book and then they just assume it's all for kids. If it's inside a comic book and there's pretty colors, then it must be for kids. Yeah, they don't realize that it's not all for kids.
Yeah, I had a Spawn game on Super Nintendo, and as a kid, you don't read the subtitles of what's going on. You just keep pressing A so you go back to playing the game.
Yeah.
And one day my cousin, I guess I was asleep or eating food or whatever, he decided to read what's going on. And he was like, "Oh my God, them statues we thought we was fighting?" I'm like, yeah, those are body parts he's throwing at us. I was like, what? He's throwing those body parts. Yeah. I think he was throwing. Yeah, I think he was literally throwing us kidnapped kids body parts.
Well, yeah, that was it he had the controversy? Was it in the Spider-Man issue with the ice cream man? It's that one that McFarlane had. I thought that was a Spider-Man book that he did that in. We had the ice cream man that was kidnapping kids and like gluing their fingers to like the board and stuff.
Oh yeah, I don't know about that one.
Yeah, that was like a big thing, and then like the issue ends with the ice cream man being stuck with a bunch of popsicles or something, like strung up and like stabbed with popsicles. It's a Spider-Man book in the '90s.
Wow.
Yeah. I think his wife either did something to help with the book, colored it or something, and she didn't refuse to do it or something because of that issue.
Spider-Man's always had this thing like Marvel Comics on Instagram just made a post about Miss Marvel finding out about Spider-Man's true identity, and people in the comics are saying, "Hey, y'all cut out a part off the comic book because I guess a panel before or a panel in between, Peter Parker makes a comment about mentally challenged kids, and they cut it out or that post on Instagram. People like, hey, y'all cut it out, y'all cut it out." So. But I think the joke was he's revealing his identity to Miss Marvel, and before he does it, he says, "Typically, I only do this with kids who have a terminally ill disease or something like that." Like, what?
Yeah, comics did some weird stuff sometimes, for sure. Yeah, some of them work very well.
Oh yeah, that definitely doesn't age good at all, especially the Hank Pym stuff.
Yeah.
So you said, well, my last question. Before you said before Nick, you did like a thriller comic book or a spy comic book. What was that?
It was a crime comic.
Crime.
Yeah.
So how was that? Because then that's different than horror. How was that doing that book?
It was fun. It was just a unique challenge because it was my first time working with a different writer at that time, and then so my goal for that one was to draw a again, this was a 3-issue miniseries, but draw a series from somebody else's script and then collab with somebody. So that was a unique experience to try to do that. And plus, it was out of my wheelhouse because like you said, I usually draw, back then I used to draw just horror, underground stuff, or like sci-fi. And so drawing a more realistic, crime story and setting, it was also good for me just to try to, explore, some other, drawing that I haven't done before and get better at it, frankly, because, that's the challenge, is always trying to improve. And, I can't do that if I'm not trying to draw something I don't know. And then at least I can get some practice at it. So it was a good learning experience for sure.
Okay. All right. That's all I got. To give people a last final pitch of the Kickstarter before we go.
Yeah, Stilettos, like I said, Showgirls meets the most dangerous game. If you want some revenge in the snow, and blood, and pointy heels, then it's definitely worth checking out. So we appreciate everybody's support and opportunity to get as many eyeballs on it as possible.
Okay. And my last segment is called Digging the Crates. That would mean a term, you digging it for them old, Spider-Man, Hulk books or whatever, and also Nirvana CDs and vinyls and whatnot.
Yeah.
Beastie Boys. So I'm gonna comb through stuff and on this interview and pull out a couple questions so people can go home with something. So if you was able to get on a mainstream project, when I mean mainstream, I mean Image, Dark Horse, Marvel, DC, don't matter. What series would you like to draw for or write for?
Yeah. Like I said, I've always enjoyed Hulk. That's fun. I always really liked the What If series for Marvel. So I like Elseworld type tales and What If type of things. So not that I have anything specific in mind, but I just think it'd be fun to work on some random What If type of things and get to do stuff with characters that you don't normally get to do. So, which would probably allow me to draw more blood and guts and violence for more mainstream things.
All right. And do you have any advice for anybody who's doing horror comics right
now? I think with anybody doing comics or interested in doing them, I think the most important thing is to just keep going. Because as independent creators, we all know it's a challenge to get seen and get it in front of people. So you can't get discouraged, by not having people look at it. So we get a lot of people that come to the table and have ideas and their grand plans for comics. I'd say to them that the best thing you can do is start small, start with a 1-page story, complete it, and then know that you've done something, and then move on to a 4-page story, 8-page story, and build up that confidence. Because so many times we build the world in our head, but we don't do anything about it. So I think that's the best thing you do is just keep practicing.
All right. That's dope. And where can people get your books at or follow you to they would want some more of your stuff?
Sure. At Unearthly Comics, Instagram, unearthlycomics.com. We have a website, so you order comics through there. We seeded comics throughout the U.S. when Nick was working remotely during COVID, so he was able to visit stores all around the states and drop stuff off. So yeah, who knows? You might find him in a random shop somewhere in Dakota. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, it's been dope, man. I enjoyed it. I learned a couple things. Hope everybody else did too.
Well,
All
Specs, I appreciate you having me on and doing all that. I appreciate the time and hanging out with you. It was fun.
right. Yes, it was. Appreciate you coming on.